It's only I need you to come to the table and whip this out of me, and I'll promise you I'll be the most feminine woman for you in the world.
You just want.
Either, by the way, either it's hold on,
have a way out so
Mr.
bad.
Lego, Mr. Lego. Either it's this or it's that. We can't keep dabbling and flipping back and forth
That's
between
the
the
problem.
two.
There are
No,
women. They are
no, Mr. Lego.
I'm glad you said that, Sarah, because this comes up quite often as far as when a woman has a destination and she's looking for a husband.
Mm-hmm.
And what if the husband's plan is a little bit differently? Then how do you come to terms with that? Do you take a detour and come back to your destination? Is it a joint destination that you guys come together to create? How does that work?
I think it depends. I think that if the vision, and this is the thing, the destination may change. How you get there is what's important, right? It might be like we planned on going to New York, but there was a snowstorm. Switch, let's do a trip to California or whatever it may be. If your vision is aligned and the mission, because remember, when we think of submit, like we're submitting to our husbands, submit means submitting, being under a mission. Mit means mission, right? So if I'm under the mission, which I believe I'm submitted to my husband is submitted to God, I'm submitted to the God in me that's submitted to the God in him. If that's what the submission is, and the mission just looks like a little bit different than I thought it was, anybody that's ever been successful in anything knows it never looks like what we thought it would. It's always better. You know what I mean? It's around the same idea, but it changes. So are you malleable and flexible in the way that you do things? I don't think there's a perfect way to have your life set. Hell, I've been engaged 2.5 times. So, I've thought I've known every single time. And what I'm realizing is the more that I know, and I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into seminars, into books, into retreats, into masterminds, into all of the things. And what I learned is the more that I know, the more I know I don't know anything.
Okay, we got to get to Marcus before anybody else go. Go ahead, Marcus.
I love what you've been saying, Sarah, because what you just described is the Dunning-Kruger effect, where the people who know the least are the most vocal and yell it to a tree from a treetop, seem to be very informed because they have no understanding of what they don't know. The people who actually understand more than the people who are the loudest are quiet because they realize, they're not proficient. And then the people who are extremely knowledgeable tend to speak with apprehension because they know what you just said. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. It's ironic, but that's how social media works. I think the issue that we're running into, in my opinion, is about tangible and intangible, and the way that we understand reward systems or measurement systems for those things. And a lot of people are analytical thinkers. So to quantify the benefit of energy or energy exchange becomes extremely difficult without specialized fields, specialized machines, and all these things that could produce a scientific result. So they could say, hey, this is what I got. It's tangible, palpable, and I could put it on paper and take it to the bank. Yeah. When it comes to interpersonal energy exchange, it's like, I think one of the best words for it is maybe je ne sais quoi, right? It's how to explain the unexplainable. Because that's kind of where we left in trying to I guess mine out what the actual formula for understanding energy and how to make people coincide together. But it becomes even harder if there's no reverence for a belief in a greater being, a God, or some type of spiritual connection, because a lot of this stuff that we speaking about, again, like God or these things, they exist in a realm that you can't easily quantify, right? And the people who tend to have a stronger spiritual connection, it's easier for them to make the crossover into understanding exactly what the benefit of what a woman brings to the table without it needing to be a tangible, I do X, Y, Z. You can exist and radiate or feel the radiation of that energy. I think another thing, when you use the word manipulation, I smile because you understand that that it's not all manipulation isn't bad. There's positive and negative manipulation, right? Yeah. So a word that I found for it was contravance. That's a version of positive manipulation, where you're not trying to hurt anyone. You're actually trying to skillfully guide someone to the desired result or completion of a mission. And when you talk about divine masculinity and divine femininity, in order for a masculine, divine masculine man to actually partake in the perfect symbiotic relationship with the feminine, divine feminine woman, it's gonna require contravance, because the yelling and screaming and getting irate and trying to bully that man in turn produces the exact opposite result. So I think your seed planting example was perfect. I think it was perfect because you put a seed and he doesn't have to nurture it, but if he does, he can see the reward of the idea, but it's not forceful. I talk about this all the time. There's power in submission. Women's greatest power with their man is through submission. That's how you can get the extra out of them. If you got a woman who's trying to fight for herself at the airport and a woman who is looking like she is not in a position to want to fight, a lot of times men will come help the one that looks like she needs assistance. It's because she's not trying to over exert herself in the situation. It's why certain people get more assistance than others. Yeah, I think you were spot on with it. And I think it's going to be consistently hard to explain a lot of these concepts if people don't understand energy or have no desire to understand energy. So, yeah.
It's almost as if your femininity brings out his masculinity.
No, it exists. So the masculinity exists. It's like with men. We can't turn gay for a day and then, meet the right woman and become straight. Like with us, once we engage in some gay activities, it's tainted forever. But with women, they can cross back and forth, and it's not really a big deal. It's because of the roles that we I think they're natural, but somebody would say that we sociologically constructed into. But whatever the reason is, the fact still remains that you would have to be masculine no matter what. And she can radiate back and forth in those things because women mold to the man that they're with. Men don't mold to the women they're with.
Thank you.
No, Marcus, that is wrong. That's totally wrong. Yes, it is. That is totally wrong. She's supposed to be feminine in nature, regardless with her man. He don't have to bring shit out of her, and she shouldn't have to bring shit out of him. But we're trying to give this psychobabble as if they're supposed to, it's only I need you to come to the table and whip this out of me, and I'll promise you I'll be the most feminine woman for you in the world. No, you're supposed to come that way, and he's supposed to come that way. And y'all rock it out. That's how you're supposed to show up to the door.
I want to agree with you, Sweeney, but I want Ruth to go first.
I agree, Sweeney, that's an ideal preposition to navigate from, and it would make life easier for women if they were able to do that. Well, but the truth of the matter is, in today's
if I grant you that argument, then that means that her femininity brings out his masculinity, and his masculinity. No, because we're not going to give women a pass and say that they're the only ones that's, especially when we done said on these panels how y'all done said that men done been feminine and men done been effeminized over this years because they've been raised by single mamas and all of that shit. And we can say that women can all of a sudden mold and adapt, but at the same time we talk about how they don't mold and adapt and how they resort back to they lizard brain. We just giving them a way out every single time. No,
you just
either it's hold on, Mr. Lego. Either it's this or it's that. We can't keep dabbling and flipping back and forth between the
problem.
two.
They're women. They are
Mr. Lego.
Hold on, y'all. Let Marcus reply back.
I think a better example with that. Now, just follow me. There's a mold, right? The mold has to exist as the mold. Then you can have clay. Some clay is softer, some clay is easily malleable, some clay is rigid and it's going to require water in order to take it. It may take the form of being almost in a mold because it does not easily bend. But with the right manipulation or contrivance, you can get that clay into that mold. But the mold needs to remain consistent because everything has to conform to the mold. Nothing conforms to the clay.
In other words, fellas, this is psychobabble of they gonna do what the fuck they gonna do.
I want to respond to Sweeney, but I want the ladies to go.
They're gonna act a fool, and they're gonna act a problem. They're gonna give you problems.
All right, ladies.
And then
hold on, let go.
And then they expect you to come in and fix that shit.